before the questions, just quickly, I want to say something about status quo. Do you all have this card? Just take a look at it. This is the status quo. The marchers yesterday were marching for comprehensive immigration reform, which is not just about an amnesty for 11 million or so illegal aliens. It's also comprehensive immigration reform. It's always about increasing legal immigration. What this red on this chart represents is the status quo. That is, if everybody on the mall yesterday fails, this is what still happens. They wanted to increase the line of that red. All of that red is what happens by automatic pilot with today's immigration laws. If you look at the back, you'll see some key numbers. Up until the jobs depression, from 2000 to 2007, we were averaging a net of 725,000 illegal aliens added a year. These are all government statistics, and 1,052,000 average legal. Well, that was not an average. That was actually 2007. That's what the autopilot is. If Congress doesn't do something different. The marchers yesterday and their congressional sponsors want to increase that red by significant amounts. What we've had, what the status quo is that during this jobs depression, on average, our government is bringing in about 75,000 working age permanent immigrants every month. 75,000 working age permanent immigrants every month. It's hard to imagine any government in the world that would do that to the people that have been described by the previous speakers. By these 25 million Americans who are U6 unemployed, 25 million Americans looking for full-time work, wanting a full-time job, but unable to find a full-time job. And yet our government brings in 75,000 permanent working age immigrants every month. In addition, our government has continued to issue temporary work permits, both new and renewals, so that the total number of permanent, temporary, new, and renewal work permits every month during this jobs depression has been 160,000. Now you can't just multiply 160,000 times 24 to find out how many came in the 2 years, because some of these people get double counted, because some are new at one point and then the renewals at another. But the point is, the net is 125,000. That is, it's a net of 125,000 every month. That's what our government does to the people who are described by the previous speakers, by the Americans who would like to find a job. This caucus, this jobs caucus, is the only sign of reality in Washington when it comes to jobs. There's just no way that any other politician who's not part of this jobs caucus can claim that jobs is a priority. Now, I'm not saying that immigration, none of us would say that immigration is the #1 way that we get 25 million people back to work. We're not saying immigration is the main reason 25 million people are out of work. But it is one major way, and our government is actually specifically keeping all of these Americans out of work by bringing in the status quo. Now, who's challenging the status quo? The Jobs Caucus is. Heath Shuler, Democrat, and his bipartisan band of merry men and women have, I think there's over 100 of them. I mean, that's SAVE Act. That's challenging. That's what Professor Swain was talking about. That is about driving illegal workers out of their jobs, 7 million, 8 million jobs, and turning them over to, as Mark and Dan were saying so much about, all of the Americans that are lower skilled, lower educated, who work in those fields. So that's one way. Second way is doing away with chain migration, which back in 1996, the Bipartisan Commission, Barbara Jordan, recommended do away with chain migration of adult extended family relatives. It was something that was just invented in the late 50s. Do away with that, because that's what's driven immigration from 250,000 to 1 million a year for the most part. Congressman Smith, back in 1996, was the lead on that. Not surprisingly, he's the lead today of the Jobs Caucus with his 2 co-chairs. That was defeated very narrowly in the House. There is a bill. Congressman Gingrich has the bill right now that ends chain migration. If people wanted to do something about 75,000 permanent workers, foreign workers coming in every month, they'd sign on to the Gingrich Act. They stopped chain migration, don't need it. It serves no national interest. It works against our unemployed Americans. The lottery, same thing. Congressman Smith, Barbara Jordan, the Bipartisan Commission, get rid of the lottery. Stop raffling off permanent American jobs by lottery. There's a bill, Congressman Goodlatte. Want to put Americans back to work? Stop raffling off the jobs. We can do it. It's the chain migration, it's the lottery, and then it's this greatly increased employer-based immigration that was put in place in 1990 that has very low criteria. We would stop allowing businesses to bring people in for jobs that there are Americans lined up to do. The fact is, it's a rubber stamp operation for the Labor Department. It's almost like it's against the law for the Labor Department to stand up for an American worker. All of the indignities that were discussed below are inside that red. And that's what the status quo does. If the marchers are totally defeated, which I believe they will be, I believe that the American people will not possibly allow a comprehensive immigration reform bill through this year. The American workers are still screwed.
Roy, thank you very much, and thank you to all the panelists today.